However, based on your experience with, identifying, marketing, and pretty much exporting human capital out of Nigeria, we must all agree that that is a huge opportunity and must be untapped and can generate very transformational outcomes for the economy, right? If done right. What do you see as the challenges today? And also, what do from your perspective, long term, what do you see as the opportunity in building that business?
Thank you. So the first challenge is the knowledge gap. You have a lot of requests from the West that sometimes we're not able to fill because the gap. And of course, like you said, your question to Charles was about what can we do about the scarcity. The first thing I say is Nigeria has more talented people still on the mainland in Nigeria than in the diaspora, but they just need to be exposed. And one of the things we've been championing in the last few years is to push our clients to train. In recent years, we've been training for the banks, creating. There are three types of training. One is training people from zero level to a good, decent expertise level. Second is to retrain people, reskill people who are not engineers in the past but are interested in engineering. And then the third one is to upskill people. So you have a lot of engineers in Nigeria that you can push forward. They probably are a good state, but you can upskill them to get better, good enough for the foreign market. I'm talking about both short term and medium term. Short term, we're investing in training by ourselves, but we're also pushing our clients, as a lot of banks, that's important for them to train. Many of them say things like, "Oh, when I train, they're going to leave," and based on our experience, people have not been leaving as quickly as the banks fear. So Nigerians are still more reliable than people think. And so the other point is to train older people. People want to invest in training to, developers in their 20s, 30s, and I said that's fine. But if you have some older people in Nigeria that are not going to leave anytime soon, the older you are, the more unlikely you will leave. So if you find some brilliant people in your company that are in their early 40s, late 30s, they made 2-1 first class in their bachelor's degree, they're still smart. They did sciences or engineering and they're interested in reskilling. They can also be reskilled to fill that gap. So Nigeria needs to do a lot in the area of training people, not just for the local market, but also for the foreign market. And that's happening already. We do that for the banks. Dell Labs provides training to different banks, and I'm excited when I see other companies in Nigeria doing that. I know there are a lot of. I think the regional governments need to do more. There's a lot happening from the federal government's perspective, but I think the states can do a lot better. Each state can develop, just like you have in China or India. You have multiple different regional governments investing for the local economy. Let's forget about the country as a whole. Imagine if Lagos State or Ogun State puts not just money, you create a hub in your state, provide training, provide facilities, not just about training infrastructure. Again, don't limit it to young people. Include some older folks that are more likely going to stay by, people with kids established in Nigeria, have women, younger people, older people. Human capital is our biggest resource. It's much bigger than oil, much bigger than any other thing we can think of. And I think the regional governments and private enterprise need to, do a lot more. One last point about that. What's common in Nigeria is training through follow-ups. You see a lot of companies talk about training, including some very popular people. You see they have follow-ups on LinkedIn, on Facebook. And the first way to verify if they're actually trained right is find out about their trainees. In the last 3-4 years, where are their trainees? Where are they working? If you Google, you check on LinkedIn, you can't find trainees from those organizations who are working in big banks in Nigeria or working abroad. Then most likely they're not doing a good job. So I'd say Nigeria needs to focus on real training, 3 months, 6 months training, really detailed, in-depth training, and not just those 2 weeks follow-up, training for politics or for funding generation. I think if you invest a lot into that, will be able to develop a good number of people in Nigeria for the local market, because local market is also bleeding. The local market needs more engineers, but more importantly, we can export, we can earn dollars to Nigeria through Nigerians in Nigeria working for companies abroad. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So, following up on that question, and I'll leave this open for anybody who wants to take it up. It's a very nuanced position, right? Number one is we are all witnessing a very dramatic transformation in the way technology is being delivered all over the world, mostly driven by artificial intelligence, right? Everyone, I'm sure everyone here has had a run with ChatGPT, I call it ChatGPT, okay? And in light of the fact that the genie has left the box and it has dramatically changed the way people are going to deliver technology as well as manage it, it takes me into something that I think it was touched on yesterday as well, which is what really drives the sustainable innovation. You mentioned India, we know about Silicon Valley, we know about Boston, we know all these hubs. And the four things that you always find in all these places that makes this ecosystem thrive is number one is capital. And when I say capital, financial capital. The second one is a very stable legal framework for protecting intellectual property. Whether schools as well as human capital, people who are really driven and well educated, right? And when you put all those things together with you do have a very sustainable system that works. So going back to the Nigerian story, and I'll go straight into our educational system. Okay. It is, you will find out that most of the innovation today is moving back again to people who are fundamentally computer science majors. So a lot of the operational things going on in the world today are being taken over by AI. So what do you guys see as a way forward? Because if you go to India and you look at the IITs as an example, Bangalore and all of them, they produce pretty well-trained engineers, science, physics, maths, and all of that. So in your business and for the country as a whole, if we were going to stay competitive, we still need to go back and fix the universities because it's not something that companies on their own, by training and upskilling alone, can do. What do you guys think? If it affects your business, what's your perspective and what's your take on how we can tackle this problem?
So let me quickly chip this in. So I think I agree that, and I go back to regional governments. I think it's going to take a long time for this code. It's short-term basis. These codes will not be able to. They will not get transformed to that level. It's going to take us time to become IIT. However, brilliant Nigeria continues to turn out super brilliant engineers every year. You go to University of Ibadan, where you still make. I hire in Nigeria a lot, and that's why I said some of us in diaspora think that we're the smartest people abroad. No, the smartest people are still in Nigeria, and the brains are still there. They need exposure, and I think that what has happened in India, for example, is beyond the schools. You have a huge training system, even from companies. You have even the manufacturing companies will hire people from IIT. Unilever, for example, will hire IIT graduates even for management work, non-engineering work, and they put them into a big training sessions, get them prepared for accounting, finance, and transform these guys from engineering to whatever they want them to be transformed to. I think we need to do better in the area of planning training programs, long term, 6 months, 1 year programs. We still have from companies like Nestle, they do that in Nigeria, and I think we need to get more of that. So that when those kids leave the university with 2-1 with first class, this is brainy guy. We find a way to bring them together and transform them into what we want them to be. I think it's also going to take us time, maybe long-term solution, the legal framework that you said, that's probably long-term. I think short-term basis, one other point I would make is I feel we have enough innovation to transform a lot of areas in Nigeria. I think there's too much focus on wanting to innovate more. So in Lagos, everybody wants to go to digital payment system. Crazy ideas that we don't do. We need new things. Don't we have enough to transform our grid? Don't we have enough to help security with drones? Don't we have enough to improve data acquisition in healthcare? So I think that what we have right now, we've not even utilized half. We've not utilized our expertise right now to develop our country. I think we have enough resources. If the regional government especially can, bring these guys together to harness, the smart guys in Nigeria to fix a lot of things. While on a long-term basis, we can begin to I don't know how we will transform the public university system really. I guess the other people might. I think it will take them a long time, but I think we can have different smaller educational programs that can complement what the schools are doing to create that kind of educational value chain.